Hi, boys and girls. This is Ms. Kathy. I'm so happy you've joined me today for another story just for you. Pushing Sabbath buttons. The Sabbath day is like a party with God every week. When Mrs. Shue said that, Sammy was surprised. A party, he asked? What do you mean? When you have a birthday party for someone, what do you do? Mrs. Shue asked. Maria answered, we decorate the house, bake a cake to put candles on, and plan some games or something. Right, Mrs. Shue said, but why? Dee Dee raised her hand. To make that person feel special. It's a special time we can spend with them. Sabbath is like a birthday party for God, Mrs. Shue said. We're celebrating the creation of the world. Each Sabbath, we can spend special time with God. How do we know what to do to celebrate it? Sammy asked. Sometimes it's confusing. The Bible teaches us that Sabbath is a time to stop doing our everyday things. That way, we focus on our friendship with Jesus. The things we do on Sabbath should make that friendship stronger. If you're not sure about doing something, pray and ask God to help. Why don't we do that now? Everyone bowed their heads, and Mrs. Shue prayed, Father in heaven, please help us know how to keep your Sabbath today. If we forget, remind us that you want to be with us. Amen. Sammy's grandparents hadn't been feeling very good. As soon as lunch was over that afternoon, Grandmother said, Sammy, we're going to lie down for a while. You may watch those new nature videos if you want. I'll shut our door so you don't have to worry about the sound of the television bothering us. I hope you feel better, Sammy said. For a few minutes, the only sound was the crunching of his apple. Then, through the open window, he heard some of the neighborhood kids playing. Come on, hit one out here, someone called. Then a different voice shouted, Strike one! Sammy listened for a few minutes. I wish I had someone to play with today, he thought. All I have to do is watch those videos. Oh well, I like nature videos. Sammy peeled off the wrapping on the video packages. Then he pushed a button on the remote control and clicked the television on. Immediately, a new sound filled the room. And McGain takes a big lead off second base as the pitcher goes into his windup. One runner on base, one out, and the Blue Sox behind by a run. Oops, Sammy said out loud, but he kept watching as he pushed the videotape into the VCR. Strike one, the announcer called as the ball crossed the plate. For a second, I thought McGain was going to steal third base. Sammy's finger reached to push the button that would start the video, but he waited to see what was going to happen next. And here's the pitch. Sinclair swings, and it's a hit. McGain is rounding third and heading for home. Go, 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 Sammy muttered to the base runner. The ball is coming to the plate. It's going to be close. McGain slides. The catcher has the ball. McGain is safe. The Blue Sox have tied the game. All right, Sammy almost shouted. Then his hand slapped over his mouth. He pushed the mute button on the remote, the one that turns off the sound. He didn't hear anything from his grandparents' room. I guess they're still asleep, he decided. Then he turned the sound on again. With the game tied, the Redbirds manager is bringing in a new pitcher, the announcer said. We'll be back in a moment. Sammy looked at the package of the nature video in his hand. I guess I should turn this on and watch it, but I don't have anyone to watch it with. It's not like I'm playing baseball, just watching it. Maybe that's okay to do on Sabbath afternoon. When the game came back on, Sammy pushed a button and listened. With a new pitcher on the mound, the Redbirds hope to stop the Blue Sox, but Big Bat Johnston is coming to the plate. Come on, Johnston, hit one out of the park, Sammy muttered. The first pitch was too high, but on the second pitch, Johnston clobbered the ball. It's going back, the announcer called. Way back. Sammy jumped up, waving his arms. Go, go, he whispered. Bring! The phone on the wall behind him rang. Sammy froze. The center fielder was racing back, trying to get to the ball. I can't let the phone keep ringing. I'll wake up Grandmother and Grandfather. He turned away as the ball fell just in front of the fence, then raced to the phone before it could ring again. But just before he picked it up, he remembered something else. Whoever is calling will hear the baseball game when I answer. What will they think? Bring! Sammy grabbed at the remote, but it fell off the couch onto the floor. Oh no, by the time I get the remote, the phone will ring again, and Grandmother will wake up for sure. Sammy did the only thing he could think of. He grabbed the phone and held his hand over it as he opened a cabinet door and stuck his head inside. Finally, he said, "Hello? Sammy, is that you? This is Mrs. Hoffmeyer. Are you okay? You sound funny, like you're in a tunnel or something." "It's me. I'm fine," Sammy answered. Mrs. Hoffmeyer went on, "I just called to see if your grandparents are feeling better. I know they've been sick." As Sammy explained that they were sleeping, he saw on the TV that Johnston had raced all the way to third. "I'll tell them you called," he said to Mrs. Hoffmeyer. When he pulled his head out of the cabinet and hung up the phone, Sammy decided he didn't really care who won the baseball game. His stomach felt like it did the day he ate too much pizza. "That was crazy," he decided as he flopped onto the couch. "I was lucky to get away with that without getting caught." Then he thought again, "Hey, if I feel this way, then watching baseball must be the wrong thing to do. When we prayed this morning, Mrs. Shue asked God to help us know how to keep his Sabbath. I guess he's showing me that watching baseball isn't making me better friends with him." Then Sammy prayed, "I'm sorry I forgot your Sabbath, God. Help me remember that this is my day to spend with you." Then he reached out and pushed a button on the remote. The baseball announcer's voice disappeared. Instead, he heard, "Welcome to God's beautiful nature."
The story you have heard today is from the Shoebox Kids Bible Stories, written by Jerry D. Thomas and used with permission from the Pacific Press Publishing Association. If you're interested in any other books published by the Seventh-day Adventist Church, please visit AdventistBookCenter.com or call 1-800-765-6955.
This podcast is a production of the Carolina Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.